Chag Sameach. It's Tu B'Shvat, which is the Jewish New Year for the trees. And this seems like an odd time to celebrate birthdays of trees until you look a little closer. So I'm going to show you around some of our trees on the farm and talk a little bit about them. I'm going to take this literally while most people are doing figurative or symbolic conservation work, planting a tree, tidying yards, whatever. I'm going to be a little more literal about it and show you what's happening all around you. Even though we just had 3 inches of snow melt overnight, you can see on the Copper Beach here how these little leaf buds are forming. And that's happening with all the trees. They're all coming alive right now, even though it's the dead of winter. See if I can get it to focus in. Close, so close. See? This is a tulip poplar, which is the state tree of Kentucky. And you can see that it too is becoming green and starting to form leaf buds. Dead of winter. We have a lot of varieties of trees on our farm. There's a little river birch down there, and we have a lot of hackberries and wild cherries in our tree lines on our property lines. I think this is a hackberry. I'm pretty sure. And if you look up at the top, that's a squirrel's nest. They build this big messy thing that looks like piles of leaves. And they will nest communally. So it's kind of like a big ball of leaves, and then there's a little entrance in it. And they'll nest together as family units, like extended family units, and hibernate and share food and help raise each other's young, which I think is pretty cool. I haven't seen one come out of there, but I know they're in there because I've seen them in our front yard. This is an arborvitae, literally tree of life. Yes, if it had a Hebrew name, it would be Eitz Chaim. And it's pretty healthy. It hasn't been as damaged by frost because it's in the lee of the house, the way that the ones in the front have been. It doesn't have any bagworms, which kind of makes me a little bit sad, because I wanted to show you what a bagworm cocoon looks like, but they are bad for the tree, so it's good. But this one is a literal tree of life. So one thing that I like, hello bird. One thing that I like to do on Tu B'Shvat, if I can, is some practical things for tree health. I'll also often wassail them, which is a 12th night tradition. But I feel like, it's still in the time frame. So I've got my trusty pruning saw, and down here you can see this is a wild grapevine, and if you follow it up, it's starting to strangle the crown of the tree. So I'm going to hack that off at its base, which will make the tree healthier. Now that I've done that, I'm also looking at this ivy that's strangling the tree. But here's the problem with the ivy. So many birds, and I know this tree is loaded with birds. I hear them every night when they go to bed and most mornings. So it's providing habitat for a lot of birds, but also I recently discovered on some of our wild cherry trees, I was chopping through the ivy and disturbed some bats. And this is really important for them, especially with the weather that we just had. I don't see any in there. But bats live in very tiny spaces, and so they can actually shelter right up in here in spaces even smaller than that, like up in this area. And they go into torpor. So they kind of hibernate there for the winter. And that's all the cover that they need to survive. Well, I don't want to remove that cover, so I'm not going to be prying this off the tree, but I will try and cut it again down here by the base. There it is, right there. I'm going to cut that through and then take a chunk out so it can't just repair itself. And that's something I can do to help this tree, because the ivy will die off over time. The shelter part will still be there, and then when the leaves have all died off, indicating that the vine is dead in the spring, then I can rip the vine off the tree. Our little tree tour continues with arguably one of the coolest trees. This is a ginkgo. So there's the little leaf buds that are forming for this year. There. And I like this lichen that's on it too. It's very bright. Ginkgos are their own species of tree. There's nothing like them in the world. They can live to be thousands of years old. This one's little. Now this I'm quite pleased with. It doesn't look like much right now, but these are my fig trees. And it looks like they've survived the weather that we've had so far, because they are getting little leaf buds. So in the fall, before frost, I buried them all. Uh-oh, this one doesn't look as good. I think I've got maybe some hope right here. But maybe nowhere else. Oh, look. Bunny poo in my garden. So I buried them in 5-gallon pots or larger, depending on what I had. They're over here too, and I need to clear out this asparagus. Let's see, we've got one here. This has heaved so badly in the frost. We've got one here, we've got one here, and one here. So 5 in total, and hopefully they'll come back. They are in little holes surrounded by wool, and then filled into the earth in their little buckets, and then covered up with another round of wool on top, and then mulched with leaves. So with any luck, we will have figs in summer or fall. Now we come to the category trees that shouldn't be here. This is a little mulberry, I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think. Maybe not. Oh no, that's the mulberry down there. I'm not sure what this one is. It's pretty, but it doesn't belong here. And it was shading out my corn last year, and I'm gonna have to do something about it. I don't think I can move it. It's too big. So it's gonna have to come down, unfortunately. Them's the breaks. We have 2 other categories of trees. One is commemorative trees, and the other is fruit trees, and sometimes they overlap. I think I want to go, well, I can go through here. So this tree is a weeping cherry, and as you can see, it is already preparing again to bud and flower, which is nice to see. It's got a little bird's nest left in it from last year. So it shares space with these 2 maples that desperately need to be pruned. And it is planted over top of Pearl, one of our foundation Icelandic ewes, who was killed by some horrible boys. So this is her tree, and it flowers every year. And then our last category, ouch, is fruit trees. So this is the start of our little orchard here. This is a Bing cherry tree that has never produced anything. But I've been letting it grow up though. And now it needs to be pruned desperately. And then, let's see. This one is, this is a Montmorency cherry. So that's more tart, but they're really good for pies. And this is a white mulberry, I think. It's a mulberry, I don't remember which color. It produced a lot of fruit the year before last, but last year was a drought year and it was really hard for trees. And then these two are apples that do produce, but I see that we've got some suckers. Those are going to have to come off. Needs to be pruned again. And this one still has a few. I don't remember what happened. I think it was when my grandpa died. I was very busy, and so there were some apples that this one didn't really get harvested, but desperately needs to be thinned out, so I will probably get to work on that. It's got little buds. So those are some of our trees, and we're very grateful for them, and I try to tell them I'm grateful for them. And I pat them every time I mow past. Yeah, if you can do something practical for a tree today, good for you. And if not, just, I don't know, post about a tree or give to Arbor Day or something. Trees are important. So happy birthday, trees. Happy Tu B'Shvat. And thanks for watching.